Jiang Jihua's gaze swept over Lin Chia and An Qingyu, as if judging whether they could be trusted. Perhaps because of their status as Beijing University students. After a moment of hesitation, Jiang Jihua slowly began to speak. About 6 years ago I was also a student at Beijing University. That day I went to classroom 609 in Building 5 to finish a report, and continued studying under the emergency lights until past 2 a.m. By then I was feeling a bit drowsy. Wait. Lin Chia promptly interrupted Jiang Jihua, his expression strange as he spoke. You felt drowsy, then fell asleep, and when you woke up, you saw students around you wearing Zhongshan suits and studying from textbooks from decades ago? You've heard about this? You're the girl from that legend? Lin Chia asked in confusion. But didn't you commit suicide by jumping off the building? After that incident, due to emotional problems, I did feel hopeless and did jump from the building, but I wasn't successful. Jiang Jihua looked up at the roof of Building 5, her expression complicated. Just as I jumped from the rooftop when I fell past the window of the 6th floor classroom, the curtain on the inside of the window suddenly flew up and caught me, leaving me hanging by the wall. I was terribly frightened at the time and in a daze I climbed in through the windowsill. The classroom was empty, not a single person there, with only the howling sound of the wind passing through. Later I realized that they didn't want me to die. It was probably the 1970s or 80s of the last century when this building was first constructed. Beijing University was already a prestigious school in Great Xia. Not many people could study here in that era, and those who did all carried great ideals and ambitions. But it was precisely because of these high expectations that some students were under tremendous pressure, and after experiencing certain events, they ultimately chose to end their lives by jumping off the building. They all carried varying degrees of resentment, and when too many lives were lost beneath this building, the magnetic field here underwent some changes. Their remnant souls didn't enter reincarnation but lingered here as wandering spirits. Of course, ordinary humans can hardly perceive such wandering spirits, except at specific times like deep in the night, when the yin energy is at its strongest. After that failed suicide attempt, I was badly frightened. I knew there was something in that classroom, so I immediately processed my withdrawal from school and left Beijing. As for my death by jumping, that was purely a rumor spread by students later on. Jiang Jihua paused, then continued helplessly. Later I discovered that I had somehow awakened the ability to see remnant souls and even communicate with them. At first I thought I was being haunted by the ghosts from that classroom, and kept going to Buddhist temples and Taoist shrines to exorcise them, but nothing worked. As time passed, I gradually got used to it and could even actively command them to do certain things or confine them within a certain area. Later, I thought back to that classroom and, after careful recollection, realized that although the remnant souls in that classroom were frightening, they had never harmed me. They seemed to just be quietly reading their books and even saved me when I tried to take my own life. Thinking about this, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the image of them sitting beside me, earnestly studying by lamplight that night. Finally, I made up my mind to come back and became the administrator here. After communicating with them, I discovered they truly had no malicious intent. They were just a group of simple students who had taken their lives here for various reasons: studies, family, love, pressure. They had a knot in their hearts, unwilling to leave, so they stayed in this classroom. Later, after I became familiar with them, I would come here every night to teach them. Besides knowledge from textbooks, I mostly taught them about the modern world outside. Jiang Jihua opened the damaged plastic bag in her hand, which contained not only several scattered boxes of chalk but also some encyclopedias and modern literary works. They've been here for years and can only be active at night. Their impression of the outside world is still stuck in the last century. So I show them photographs and the latest books, let them see the skyscrapers outside, understand scientific progress, and tell them about the changes in the era. Gradually, they developed a strong interest in the outside world. Although I've been nurturing their souls with my ability for years, and they can barely leave this teaching building now, I worry they might cause trouble in the school if they go out, so I've been keeping them here with a barrier, only letting them out to move around at night. After hearing Jiang Jihua's description, and Qingyu had basically understood the situation. So, just now when Seven's gaze broke your barrier, they all ran out? They are all very sensible children and wouldn't normally run around, but your aura was too terrifying and they were so frightened they fled in panic. Jiang Jihua sighed. Seeing Jiang Jihua's resentful gaze, Lin Chia also felt helpless. He didn't know the identities of those ghosts either. Besides, he had only glared once and the barrier had opened. Where could he go to reason about this? Will they leave this school? They shouldn't, after all, they exist relying on the magnetic field within this building. Although I've nurtured them for a few years, they are still remnant souls. If they leave this building too far, they will simply dissipate. Lin Chia nodded thoughtfully. Are they dangerous? They shouldn't be. They have no aggression themselves. The only thing they can do is possess living people. But they know their limits. Even if they possess someone, they won't do anything inappropriate. That's good, there won't be large-scale casualties. Lin Chia thought to himself. How many are there in total? 14, though some of them are very shy and should return quickly. But a few are bolder and very curious about the outside world, so they probably won't come back easily. So we just need to bring those unwilling to return back to that classroom, right? Lin Chia nodded. I understand. I'll handle this matter. Lin Chia exchanged phone numbers with Jiang Jihua, then left with Qingyu and Jiang Er. Who would have thought that in Beijing University, there would be a group of remnant souls of progressive youth from the last century, and a teacher who can communicate with remnant souls. That's quite interesting. And Qingyu turned to look at Lin Chia. So, how do you plan to handle this? The remnant souls have no physical form and my mental power can't sense them. To find them, we can only conduct a carpet search throughout the campus. Can just the few of us search the entire campus? Who said it would be just us? We have classes to attend, we don't have time. Lin Chia's lips curled into a slight smile. For such a rare opportunity, let's leave it to the young people. Beijing City. Squad 006 Headquarters. Sis, why is your suitcase so heavy? I can barely lift it anymore. Suja was struggling to carry a black-wheeled suitcase through the alley, drenched in sweat and looking like he was about to collapse. Walking ahead of him, Su Yuan was carrying two wheeled suitcases with her bare hands while also wearing a bulging tactical backpack. A vein throbbed on her forehead as she turned back to give Suja a disapproving glare, taking large strides toward the vermilion courtyard gate. Sis, wait for me. Suja wiped away his sweat, panting heavily as he hurried to catch up. Knock, knock, knock. Su Yuan knocked gently, and soon a figure opened the large door of the courtyard house. Su Yuan, you're here? Li Jinjin was delighted to see these two familiar faces after so long and gave Su Yuan a hug. The latter smiled slightly. Packing took a bit more time, so we're 2 days late. No problem, we haven't been doing much these past few days anyway. Come in quickly. Li Jinjin took the luggage from Su Yuan's hands and was surprised by its weight. What's in here? Why is it so heavy? Let's talk inside, Su Yuan said. Why aren't you helping me with my luggage? My hands are cramping. Suja complained from behind. Li Jinjin gave him a disdainful look. You're a grown man and can't even carry this much? Look at Su Yuan carrying 4 times what you are. Under Li Jinjin's guidance, the Su siblings found an empty room to settle in. Just as they walked out, they heard 2 voices coming from the back courtyard. I still think Celestial Court is more appropriate. Heh, that's so lame. Then what do you suggest? Demon. Pa. That's incredibly tacky. We're calling it Demon. I'm the squad leader, I make the decisions. Temporarily. When we get officially approved, I'll be the leader. You. Really? Don't agree? On what grounds do you object? You're asking for it. By the time the 3 of them reached the back courtyard, Lu Baoyou's forehead was nearly touching Feng Mo's. The two were staring at each other so intensely that sparks seemed about to fly. These two haven't changed a bit, Suja couldn't help but comment. What are you two arguing about? The code name for when our squad becomes official. Fong Mo glared fiercely at Lu Baoyu before continuing. I think Celestial Court is most appropriate, but he insists on Demon. Why give a special squad such an ominous name? Celestial Court? Sounds like something an elementary school kid would come up with. Lu Baoyu sneered. Seeing that the two were about to fight again, Li Jinjin quickly pulled them apart. Just as she was about to say something, Qin Han walked in from outside. He noticed the two new faces, Suzhou and Suyuan, and raised an eyebrow. These two are? Oh, our new squad members, Suzhou and Suyuan. Qin Han nodded slightly. You've arrived at the perfect time. Captain Lin just sent word that he has a mission for you. A mission? At these words, everyone's eyes lit up except for Suzhou's. Their reserve squad had just been established, and although they weren't at full strength yet, that wouldn't stop them from taking action. This would be their first mission toward becoming an official squad. What kind of mission? For the details, go find him at Beijing University. He'll explain everything. Beijing University? Suja pondered thoughtfully. So this mystery is at a university? If it requires Captain Lin's intervention, it must be quite challenging. Fong Mo gave him a strange look. You're overthinking it. With the reserve squad moving at full speed, they arrived at Beijing University in just over 20 minutes. Fong Mo, Lu Baoyu, Li Jinjin, Suzhou, and Suyuan stood in a row outside a classroom door, looking like students being punished to stand in the hallway, staring intently at the classroom before them. Wait, weren't we supposed to find Captain Lin? Why are we waiting here? Suzhou asked in confusion. He's inside. In there? What's he doing in there? Studying philosophy. What the hell? The group waited outside for more than 10 minutes until the bell finally rang. Students streamed past them, and after a while Lin Chia appeared before them. You're here? Let's go, we'll talk while walking. Lin Chia nodded to them. Everyone obediently followed him. Captain Lin, why are you attending classes? Is this part of the mission? Siyuan asked seriously. Sort of, but I have a different mission for you. Lin Chia explained the situation with the remnant souls to everyone, and their expressions immediately turned strange. So our mission is to find remnant souls? Li Jinjin seemed somewhat disappointed. I thought we'd be dealing with some powerful mystery, or something. Isn't this too simple? Simple. Lin Chia raised an eyebrow. First of all, remnant souls aren't easy to find. The naked eye can barely distinguish them during daytime. By the way, did you bring the equipment I asked you to get from headquarters? We did. Suzhou put down his backpack and took out several specially crafted silver-threaded glasses, handing them to Lin Chia. These are standard prohibited items from the Bailey family. They can detect special energy fields within your visual range, including remnant souls. Wearing these will make it easier to see them. Secondly, these souls can possess people, so make sure they don't make the possessed do anything inappropriate. Finally, these remnant souls are all students who took their own lives in the last century. They're not enemies, so don't harm them when bringing them back to the classroom. Lin Chia distributed the glasses, keeping 3 pairs for himself and Qingyu and Li Yifei. The glasses were very light and looked no different from ordinary glasses. You have only 3 days to complete this mission. Can you do it? Yes. Fong Mo and the others nodded solemnly. Go then. As the reserve squad members dispersed, and Qingyu followed Lin Chia in his wheelchair, chuckling, You're starting to look like a father figure now. They're the juniors we've trained ourselves. We should look after them. And Qingyu was about to say something more when his gaze suddenly froze. His fingers involuntarily curled and a gray hue rapidly spread across his eyes. Cough, cough, cough. And Qingyu bent over in pain, his body trembling in the wheelchair, nearly falling off and startling the passing students who rushed forward to help. Qingyu, Lin Chia and Jiang Er were both alarmed and quickly moved toward him. At that moment, Lin Chia seemed to sense something and abruptly turned his head in a certain direction. This aura, is it Migo? Qingyu, what's wrong? Jiang Er's voice sounded from the earpiece in Qingyu's ear, but at this moment the latter could barely hear it. He was curled up in his wheelchair, clutching his head in pain, feeling like his skull was about to split. Qingyu. Lin Chia quickly rushed to Qingyu's side, scanning his body with mental power but finding no physical symptoms. His brows immediately furrowed. Is it another after effect on your soul? I'm fine. Qingyu gritted his teeth and spoke hoarsely, just a bit of head. It'll be better soon. Don't worry about me. Lin Chia's expression was extremely grim. He was fine just a second ago. Why did the headache suddenly start again? Most importantly, it happened right at this moment when he once again sensed the aura of Migo. And this time there were far more than just one. Chia, you should go quickly. I'll take care of Qingyu, Jiang Er said solemnly. After a moment of hesitation, Lin Chia nodded. If his condition worsens, contact me immediately through the communicator. Lin Chia's figure transformed into a streak of night, quickly disappearing from the spot. At the same time he dialed a number. Chinhan, they're back. Beijing University Kendo Club. Good morning, Senior. Good morning, Senior Meng Lei. Senior, did you put on makeup today? This is rare. Is there some big event tonight? Several Kendo Club members walked into the training hall and asked in surprise when they saw Lu Menglei, who had already changed into her Kendo uniform and was practicing. Usually Lu Menglei found makeup troublesome. She'd rather wake up half an hour earlier to run a few more laps on the field than put on makeup. Unless it was an occasion that required it, she was almost never seen wearing makeup. Lu Minglei's hand holding the bamboo sword paused, then she glared at them. Why so many questions? Is it strange that I'm wearing makeup? Let's see who has too much free time on their hands. Come practice with me later. Hearing this, everyone's expressions froze, and they obediently went to change into their kendo uniforms. Lu Menglei glanced at the time on the wall, then looked toward the entrance of the training hall as if waiting for something. A few minutes later, a figure carrying a bag walked into the training hall. When Lu Menglei saw him, her gaze flickered with some hesitation. After a moment, she put down her bamboo sword and took the initiative to speak. Good morning, Junior Chao Yuan. Morning. Chao Yuan nodded slightly. Go change your clothes and let's train together later? Okay. Chao Yuan briefly greeted Lu Menglei, his expression showing no change, as if everything that happened last night was just a dream. This neither cold nor warm attitude made Lu Menglei's thoughts, which she had just managed to suppress, stir up again. She kept thinking in her mind. Why is he so cold to me? He wasn't like this last night. Was my behavior last night too much? Or does he not feel that way at all? All sorts of chaotic thoughts flooded Lu Menglei's mind as she watched Chao Yuan's retreating figure. She was lost in thought, and for some reason, there was an indescribable sense of disappointment in her heart. Hello. What? Chao Yuan's gaze instantly sharpened. Okay, I'm coming right now. Without another word, Chao Yuan threw his backpack on the ground of the training hall and rushed toward the exit. Junior Chao Yuan. Where are you going? Lu Menglei saw Chao Yuan's sudden change in expression and hurriedly asked. I have something important to deal with. Sorry, Senior, I can't practice with you today. Chao Yuan briefly explained to Lu Menglei and then rushed out of the training hall door. Lu Menglei stood there dumbfounded, her mind filled only with the image of Chao Yuan's expression when he turned around, full of killing intent and sharpness. Senior, why did that new junior leave? You didn't bully him again, did you? A club member walked in from outside and asked suspiciously. Lu Menglei looked at his departing figure, feeling empty inside. She came to her senses and said with embarrassment. Who bullied him? probably had something urgent to attend to. Never mind, let's continue training. 4 of them. Chin Han's voice was full of shock over the phone. That's right. Lin Chia was speeding through the sky above Beijing City and spoke gravely. And this time they're more scattered, closer to the city center than last time. Fortunately, I was alert this time and notified you as soon as I detected them, so they haven't caused any casualties yet. If the 2 of us split up, we can only kill 2 in a short time. What about the other 2? Chao Yuan can handle 1, and as for the last one, I'll deal with it. Good. After hanging up the phone, Lin Chia raised his hand and waved. A summoning magic array opened in the air, and a deep blue cat shadow leaped out from it. 15 kilometers southeast, go, Lin Chia said solemnly. Lai Fu meowed once, transformed into a lightning bolt and disappeared into the clouds in an instant. The Mi-Go's strength was comparable to the peak of the Klein realm, and killing them was not easy. Among all of Lin Chia's current guardians, few could deal with these creatures. The thunder beast Lai Fu was the strongest, making it the most reliable choice to kill a Mi-Go alone. The fierce wind howled past Lin Chia's ears. On top of a distant skyscraper, a pink dot was slowly floating. With thin membranes vibrating at high speed and several ferocious jointed limbs clinging to the lightning rod, a Mi-Go raised its head high. Its tentacle-covered, nodule-like head was constantly changing direction as if searching for something. Seeing this, Lin Chia's brows furrowed even more. Sure enough, the first Mi-Go invasion was not a coincidence. They came to Beijing specifically to search for something. Sensing Lin Chia's approach, the Mi-Go emitted a piercing buzzing sound. The space-time around it began to distort, seemingly unwilling to engage with Lin Chia and instead attempting to hide within the cracks of space-time. Trying to escape? Lin Chia snorted coldly, and an invisible domain suddenly expanded. Final King's Law. The moment this invisible domain covered it, the space-time distortion around the Mi-Go returned to normal, and its form was forcibly squeezed out from the space-time crack. The tentacles growing on its nodule-like head twisted frantically, seemingly furious. It seemed that Gilgamesh's divine ability was also effective against these creatures from beyond the world. This was undoubtedly good news for Lin Chia. As the murky darkness gradually devoured the sky, Lin Chia's figure rapidly closed in on the Mi-Go, and a snow-white blade shadow appeared in his palm. Clay. White slash. Was unsheathed and a pair of burning golden pupils lit up with it. Shangjiang University. Cough cough cough. And Qingyu's coughing gradually subsided. He sat weakly in the wheelchair looking extremely haggard. Feeling better? Zhang Er asked worriedly. A bit better. The headache lasted for a while and then receded just like when I first woke up last time. And Qingyu gazed at the calm lake before him and spoke bitterly. It seems my aftereffects aren't as simple as I imagined. You've been taking medicine for so many days. Was this headache less severe than the last one? No, and Qingyu paused. It seems it was more painful than last time. Zhang Er sighed dejectedly. By the way, did Chia go to kill the mystery? And Qingyu asked as if suddenly remembering something. Sort of, he said that thing is called Mi-Go. Mi-Go? What's that? Considering in Qingyu's recent condition, Lin Chia hadn't told him about the existence of Mi-Go to avoid giving him unnecessary pressure. But now that things had reached this point, Zhang Er couldn't hide it anymore and could only tell the truth. It's a Q-system creature, seemingly a servant of the key to the door. But that thing is only at the Klein level, not much trouble. Key to the door? And Qingyu's brows furrowed slightly. Is it related to the 3 pillar gods of the Q-system? Anything connected to that mythology can't be a small problem. Your injuries haven't healed yet, so don't think too much about it. There are no classes this afternoon, let's go back and wait for them. And Qingyu, sitting in the wheelchair, quickly returned to the courtyard. By now, his discomfort had mostly disappeared, and apart from some weakness, there wasn't much difference from usual. and Qingyu sat in the courtyard, looking at the distant sky as if lost in thought. Seeing this, Jiang Er knew he was worried about Lin Qier and the others. All his teammates had gone out to solve a problem, while he, the deputy captain of Nightfall, could only wait here, surely feeling uncomfortable. Just as Jiang Er was thinking about how to comfort him, and Qingyu spoke first. Jiang Er, play a game of chess with me. Jiang Er was stunned for a moment but nodded, all right. The two sat facing each other under the maple tree. And Qingyu picked up a chess piece first and placed it on the board, with Jiang Er following suit. Time passed minute by minute and the chess pieces on the board increased. While playing with Qingyu, Jiang Er was also thinking about Lin Qier and the others. After some time, Qingyu suddenly asked, Jiang Er, how many moves have we made? Jiang Er snapped back to attention and looked at the chessboard. Already, 89 moves? Just a few days ago, Qingyu could only play about 40 moves with her. Although he improved daily, it was only by 3 or 4 moves. Today, Jiang Er had been distracted, and they had already reached nearly 90 moves. And looking at Qinyu's condition now, no sweating, no headache, he seemed to be handling it with ease. Jiang Er knew clearly that although she had been somewhat distracted, she wasn't playing carelessly. She maintained the same level of difficulty as before, which meant Qinyu's logical reasoning ability had recovered significantly. Jiang Er focused and continued playing with Qingyu. About 10 minutes later, after placing a chess piece, Qingyu uncertainly asked, Jiang Er, did I win? Jiang Er stared at the chessboard in disbelief, then exclaimed joyfully, you won. You really won. Come to think of it, I do feel my mind is clearer. It seems the daily medicine is working. Jiang Er suddenly remembered something and stood up immediately. You haven't taken today's medicine yet. I'll go prepare it for you. Shortly after, Jiang Er brought a bowl of steaming medicinal soup to Qingyu. He drank it all at once, wiped his mouth and continued, let's continue, Jiang Er. This time increase the difficulty a bit. All right. The chess game began again. This time, Jiang Er focused on analyzing Qinyu's chess strategy, trying to gauge his logical reasoning ability through his moves. As more pieces were placed, Jiang Er's surprise grew. Although this method of assessment wasn't entirely accurate, Jiang Er could basically confirm that Qinyu's logical reasoning ability had recovered significantly. It was now at the level of an average adult, though still somewhat below that of a high school student. Jiang Er, my head is starting to feel dizzy. Qingyu looked at the chessboard, sweat beginning to form on his forehead. Jiang Er knew he was reaching his limit. She immediately put away the chess set, handed him a cup of hot water, and pushed him into the courtyard to bask in the sun. Although Qinyu's face was somewhat pale, Jiang Er could clearly sense that his spirit had changed. His eyes revealed a hint of long-lost confidence. Jiang Er, Qingyu suddenly spoke, looking at the maple forest in the sunlight. I will recover eventually, right? Of course. It's only been a few days and you've already recovered so much. At this rate, you'll be completely healed in a month at most. Jiang Er said with certainty. Qingyu smiled, relaxed in his wheelchair and slowly closed his eyes. Creak. After some time, the courtyard gate was pushed open, and Lin Qier walked in holding Zhan Bai. Qier. Jiang Er asked in surprise. Is everything resolved? Yes, very smoothly. Lin Qier nodded slightly. Dealing with a Klein-level Mi Gu wasn't difficult for Lin Qier. He resolved the battle in 10 minutes. The Thunder Beast was even faster than him, and Qin Han and Chao Yuan also successively killed their opponents. After confirming all 4 Mi Gu were dead, Lin Qier circled the skies of Shangjiang for a long time, waited for about 2 hours, and only returned here after no new Mi Gu appeared. What's wrong with Qingyu? He fell asleep. Jiang Er excitedly told Lin Qier about Qinyu's recovery, and Lin Qia's eyes also lit up with joy. He looked at Qingyu resting peacefully in the sunlight and nodded slightly. It's best that Qingyu can recover. I have a feeling that recently Shangjiang or even the entire Great Xia is about to face something major. Is there anything I can help with? Lin Chia thought carefully. In the next few days, I might need you to access some city surveillance or other electronic components to help me find some things. I'll contact you via communicator when needed. No problem. Also, Lin Chia paused. In the coming days I might not be at school. If Qingyu asks, tell him I have business with Squad 006. His condition has just improved, let him rest. It's best if he's not involved in these matters. I'm not sure if it's because of a cold, but I haven't been feeling well these past few days. My mind is a bit foggy. Updates might be fewer in the next couple of days. Sanju will adjust as soon as possible, sorry. 4 days ago the first Mi-Go appeared on the suburban mountain to the northwest of Beijing. After killing a mystery, it approached the urban area directly and was eventually killed in an office building at the edge of the city. Today at noon 4 Mi-Go appeared simultaneously, scattered in the northwest, northwest and southwest directions. In Squad 006's office, Lin Chia looked at the large map of Beijing on the wall, continuously marking the positions where each Mi-Go appeared with a red pen and said thoughtfully. Comparing these positions, it's not difficult to see that these 4 Mi-Go, besides being greater in number, are more dispersed and closer to the city center. If we connect their appearance points, it's like a net being cast over Beijing. Qin Han looked at the red lines Lin Chia had connected. You mean, their target is in Beijing's urban area? Exactly. Lin Chia nodded and said, if the Mi-Go are truly as described in the intelligence reports, a race that values science and truth, their intelligence must be quite high. The first Mi-Go that descended on Beijing was more like a scout. It came here through a space-time gap, probably to confirm whether the target was in this city. Before we killed it, it likely used some method to transmit a signal to other Mi-Go. After confirming the target was in Beijing, the next step was to narrow down the target's range. So these 4 Mi-Go started from where the previous one was killed, spreading out to surround the urban area, beginning to screen for the target's specific location. Their actions demonstrate strong logic and purpose. But this time they were all killed by us before they could conduct much searching. Doesn't that mean their reconnaissance failed? Not necessarily. Lin Chia recalled the Mi-Go he faced, clinging to a lightning rod, sensing its surroundings with the tentacles on its head, and shook his head. After appearing this time, all the Mi-Go were moving toward high points in the city. They must have some kind of radar-like sensing method that can locate the target's position. Sounds troublesome. Qin Han sighed. These 4 were killed by us, but they will definitely have another wave and the number might increase. Lin Chia said solemnly, from the last Mi-Go invasion to this one, there was a 4-day interval. These 4 days might be the time they need to travel through the space-time gap to get here, which means the next invasion could be in 4 days. I will report to Commander Zhou later and ask him to send more people to guard Beijing. On one hand, to be vigilant about the possible 3rd invasion in 4 days. On the other hand, to search the entire Beijing urban area with more manpower, looking for items that might be related to the Cthulhu mythos. During this time, I will also use my mental power to search Beijing to see if there's anything suspicious. Though my mental power can't detect everything and there might be omissions, so I'll need your cooperation. Lin Chia's analysis and decision-making made Qin Han nod repeatedly. He had nothing to refute or add. Good. I'll immediately mobilize the entire logistics department to begin a carpet search of the urban area. By the way, can we really find the escaped remnant souls by walking around campus like this? On the road of Beijing University, Suzhia and Li Jinjin walked side by side, scanning their surroundings. The former said uncertainly, "We've been wandering like this all morning, and haven't seen even a shadow. Besides searching like this, there's no other way," Li Jinjin shrugged. After receiving Lin Chia's task, the 5 members of their reserve team split into 3 groups. Fang Mo and Su Yuan, Su Zhou and Li Jinjin each formed a group, and Lu Baoyu, who didn't want to team up with anyone, acted alone. The three small groups had been searching the campus until now without any results. By the way, aren't remnant souls just ghosts? Do ghosts come out in broad daylight? Idiot, didn't Instructor Lin say that those remnant souls have been nurtured by Jiang Zhihua for so many years that they're no longer afraid of the sun? Even if they're not afraid of the sun, they wouldn't just walk in the sunlight, right? I don't think this search method is effective. Why don't we look in some shady places? You mean that small shop over there selling popsicles? Li Jinjin. After Suju's persistent nagging, the two stopped in front of the small shop. While Suju was enthusiastically selecting ice cream, Li Jinjin's gaze swept across the surroundings and suddenly fixed on something in the corner. Boss, how much is this? 66 yuan. Just give me a small pudding from next door. This one is 1 yuan. Suja. What's up, Jinjin? You want one too? Boss, make it 2. No. Li Jinjin secretly pinched him and gestured in a certain direction with her eyes. Look. Suja looked carefully. Through his special glasses he saw a faintly glowing white shadow in the deepest part of the shop, wandering by the shelves, constantly examining the snacks on both sides, seemingly very curious. Is that? Suja and Li Jinjin exchanged glances. She immediately opened her communicator, said something to the other team members, and then casually walked into the shop. Li Jinjin walked around each shelf, casually picked up 2 cans of potato chips, and leisurely walked toward the white shadow. Seeming to notice her approach, the white shadow quietly retreated to the corner, making way for her. Normally, human eyes cannot see these remnant souls in broad daylight, and he thought Li Jinjin was walking in this direction by coincidence. But to his great surprise, as Li Jinjin passed in front of him, her hand shot out like lightning and grabbed his wrist. Li Jinjin's gloves, also from the Night Watcher's headquarters, seemed to actually grab an arm when they touched the white shadow. Her lips curled into a slight smile. Hey there, it's broad daylight, let's not wander around outside, shall we? Editor, Recruitment Service, Cultural Exchange, Trips, Translation, Website Development, Book Club Memberships, Writing Software, Website Theme Design, Chinese Novel Translation. The white shadow was startled by Li Jinjin's action and instinctively tried to break free, but his wrist was firmly gripped. He could only walk out of the small shop under Li Jinjin's custody. Of course, in the shop owner's eyes, only Li Jinjin walked out. Awesome. Suja, holding an ice cream, gave Li Jinjin a thumbs up at the door. Hey student, pay your bill. The shop owner saw Li Jinjin walking out with 2 cans of potato chips while another young man at the door was giving her a thumbs up, and couldn't help but wonder if young people nowadays were so brazen about stealing. Li Jinjin was startled and was about to take out her phone to pay when the white shadow she was holding suddenly jerked forcefully and directly crashed into the shop owner's body. This sudden change caught Li Jinjin and Suja off guard. The convenience store owner smiled at them, then turned and ran into the campus with incredibly light steps, not at all like a middle-aged man in his 40s. He's been possessed. After him. Li Jinjin immediately reacted and sprinted after him, with Suja following closely behind. Everyone be alert. The target has possessed a middle-aged man in his 40s, bald, wearing a brown vest, currently running toward the lake, Li Jinjin said gravely into her communicator. Received, we're heading in that direction now. Fang Mo's voice promptly came through the communicator. The possessed convenience store owner ran at an incredible speed, nimbly weaving through Beijing University's campus. Taking advantage of the between-class crowds and his familiarity with the terrain, he managed to leave Li Jinjin behind. In this public setting, Li Jinjin couldn't use her forbidden domain, so she could only continue pushing through the crowd, her eyes fixed on the store owner's back. The convenience store owner glanced back, and as he brushed past a student, the white shadow inside him floated out again, attaching itself to a tall male student who turned and ran in another direction, leaving the confused store owner standing in place, looking around with an expression of disbelief. Damn it. When Li Jinjin saw the remnant soul switch bodies, she immediately realized the situation was dire. If the target kept switching bodies in this crowded area, she would never be able to catch up. Li Jinjin hadn't expected that a simple task of finding a remnant soul would become so troublesome. Suja, keep following him. Li Jinjin shouted to Suja, while she herself rushed to the nearest academic building and quickly made her way to the top floor to scan the crowd below. Soon she located the possessed student. After confirming no one was around, she waved her hand in the air, and a heart-shaped bow and arrow materialized in her grasp. Li Jinjin drew the bow and aimed the heart-tipped arrow at the student through the crowd. At this distance and with so many people in the way, she couldn't guarantee her shot would hit the target, but there was no other option. If she delayed even a few more seconds, the remnant soul would escape completely. Li Jinjin took a deep breath, about to release the arrow, when the melodious sound of a guitar came from nearby. Like the light rain in the gray sky, stopping and starting, silently soaking the earth. A deep, magnetic voice accompanied the guitar, causing students moving between buildings to pause and look toward the source of the sound, including the possessed male student. Li Jinjin's fingers hesitated on the arrow, not releasing it as she glanced toward the source of the music, her eyes narrowing slightly. Under a willow tree by Beijing University's lake, a tall young man was holding a guitar, playing passionately. His deep voice, accompanied by the sound of falling maple leaves, though not loud, overpowered the chatter of surrounding students, causing everyone to turn and look at him. Li Yifei, safety officer in Qingyu who was out for a wheelchair stroll around campus, spotted the figure with the guitar under the tree. Through his earpiece came Jiang Er's surprised voice. He can sing too? And Qingyu blinked. I remember him. Back at Songnan 6th Middle School, he was our school's top singer. I have to admit he sounds really good. Let's go over and take a look. Li Yifei's singing seemed to possess a certain magic, drawing the attention of passing students. Already tall and good-looking as a basketball team member, his charm increased dramatically with the musical accompaniment, attracting many female students to gather around. The male student possessed by the remnant soul also stared in Li Yifei's direction with a lost expression, as if recalling something. He pursed his lips, unconsciously brushing the hair at his temple, hesitantly stomping his foot before gathering courage to walk toward Li Yifei. Attention, target has lowered his guard and is walking toward the singing guy by the lake. Li Jinjin observed his slowed pace and after a moment's hesitation, put away her heart arrow and spoke into her communicator. We're already here, Feng Mo's voice immediately responded. Everyone be careful, don't let him possess someone else and escape again. The reserve team members blended in with the spectators, gradually approaching the possessed student. Though always flickering uncertainly, occasionally revealing stars. This describes your eyes. Seeing more and more girls gathering around, Li Yifei's lips curved into a slight smile, his fingers becoming more nimble on the strings. His melodious voice singing the youthful song elicited waves of exclamations from the crowd. The possessed student pushed through the crowd to stand at the front, staring blankly at Li Yifei under the maple tree. In his mind, two figures seemed to overlap and his eyes began to redden. Outside the crowd, Lu Menglei walked along the path with a bamboo sword bag on her back, looking lost. She glanced briefly in Li Yifei's direction before quickly looking away. Her steps gradually slowed. So delicate, not young. Wanting to gently smooth it out. This describes the palm of your hand. As these lyrics reached Lu Menglei's ears, her steps suddenly halted. Somehow her mind recalled the warm, rough palm that had held her hand last night. In the melodious song, she stared at her own palm, unable to stop the image of that stern face and the determined back walking away from the training ground from appearing before her. Perhaps she had been overthinking things. At her age and freshly divorced, who would be interested in her? Lu Menglei smiled self-mockingly and was about to walk away when a familiar voice came from behind. It seems you don't care much for music? Lu Menglei's body froze. She turned around to find the face that had just been in her thoughts now right before her eyes. The breeze rustled the maple leaves in the trees, like golden snowflakes dancing to the music, falling gently on both their shoulders. Chao Yuan, carrying a black case, smiled as he looked into Lu Menglei's eyes. Forgive me for being helpless. Perhaps just one casual glance at you would make me stop a 100-meter sprint. If only technology were advanced enough to let me go back in time and grow up with you. Amid the music and singing, Lu Menglei stood stunned for a long moment. For some reason, her cheeks quickly flushed red as she stammered. Junior Chao Yuan, why are you here? I finished my business and went to the fencing club. They said you'd left early, so I came looking for you. Chao Yuan reached out and gently removed a maple leaf from Lu Menglei's hair, then asked, still going to practice fencing? Yes. I never noticed before, but now I see that Li Yifei is absolutely a lady killer. Jiang Er watched Li Yifei playing and singing surrounded by girls and couldn't help but sigh. He's tall, athletic, has a lively and sunny personality, values loyalty, and can sing and play instruments. Don't all the college girls just fall for him? And Qingyu raised an eyebrow. Really? You like this type too? I'm not interested in men with developed athletic abilities, but being able to sing is quite nice. Oh. And Qingyu's expression was somewhat strange. Are you jealous? Jiang Er's voice took on a playful tone. No, there's nothing to be jealous about. You're lying. You are jealous. And Qingyu's mouth twitched slightly. I'm going back. He 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 he. What are you laughing at? It's rare to see you jealous. Surprisingly cute. Jiang Er's voice gradually became teasing. And Qingyu's temple popped a vein as he silently increased the speed of his wheelchair, sweeping past the road filled with drifting songs like a gust of wind, even overtaking several cars going over 60 miles per hour, leaving pedestrians on both sides stunned in place. Is everyone in position? I'm on his east side. I'm on the west side. I'm on the north side. Good, wait for the crowd to disperse, then on my signal we move simultaneously. Fang Imo stood in the crowd, her gaze fixed on the possessed young man, speaking in a deep voice. But, don't you find it strange? Suge's voice was puzzled. What? Why, is he crying? As Li Yifei strummed the strings one last time, the singing stopped and he stood up from the stool, smiling and greeting the students gathered nearby. Waves of applause erupted. The crowd at the back gradually dispersed, and at the same time, several figures approached Li Yifei. Hey, you sing so well. Can I add your WeChat? I'm sure. Scan mine. I'd like to add you too. Scan together. Which major are you in? Handsome, want to join our music club? Li Yifei, surrounded by the crowd, smiled while scratching his head and answering their questions one by one. The girls who successfully added his contact information excitedly pulled their friends away, taking small steps and blushing. How about that, Zhang Yang? I won. When most people had left, Li Yifei patted Zhang Yang's shoulder and laughed. You challenged me to get 10 girls WeChat in 10 minutes and I got over 30. Are you convinced? Well done, Li. Zhang Yang couldn't help but applaud. Perfect timing, our department's welcome party still needs performances. I'll sign you up when I get back. Welcome party? When? Tomorrow. One of the acts was cancelled last minute, so there's a vacancy. You'd be perfect. That works. But don't forget to transfer the 200 yuan we bet. Don't worry, you'll get it. Let's go get something to eat. Just as Li Yifei was about to leave, a figure quickly emerged from the crowd. He reached out as if trying to grab Li Yifei's clothes, his face streaked with tears. Chang Hong. His appearance startled Li Yifei, who instinctively stepped back half a step. Brother, I think you've got the wrong person? Now. At the same time, Fong Mo's voice instantly sounded in the team members' communicators. Several figures rushed toward the possessed young man, grabbing his shoulders like lightning and restraining him in place. Seeing them grab the young man, Li Yifei and Zhang Yang were stunned. "What, brothers, what are you doing?" "Sorry, my roommate is having an episode. We'll take him away now," Suja said with a smile. "Chang Hong." The young man struggled in Fong Mo's grip, his reddened eyes fixed on Li Yifei as he shouted, "Chang Hong, do you know how much I've missed you all these years? I knew you must have survived." Chang Hong. Fong Mo, wearing gloves, pressed on the young man's chest, and a white figure separated from his body, immediately restrained by Su Yuan and Li Jinjin. At such close range, everyone could see clearly that the white figure appeared to be a girl wearing a plain dress in the style of the last century, with a long ponytail, constantly staring at Li Yifei's face, her mouth slightly opening and closing as if saying something. Of course, ordinary people could hardly see her true form. In Zhang Yang's eyes, they were just carrying away an unconscious young man. So he really was having an episode. Zhang Yang shrugged. Li Yifei stared blankly in the direction they left, his eyes full of confusion. Li Yifei's true form was the Nanda snake demon, naturally not an ordinary person. He clearly saw the girl's existence and roughly guessed the identity of these young people. But he didn't understand why the girl would mistake him for someone else. "Li Yifei, Li Yifei?" Zhang Yang waved at Li Yifei. "What's wrong, scared?" No. Forget about it, let's go eat." Tap tap tap. In the empty kendo training hall, two figures crossed paths and quickly separated, bamboo swords and tree branches colliding with crisp sounds. "Phew, your sword is too fast, I can't keep up at all." Lu Menglei rubbed her sore wrist and spoke bitterly. "You're doing very well," Qiao Yuan nodded. "For an ordinary person. You talk as if you're not an ordinary person yourself." Again. Lu Menglei mustered her spirit and raised her bamboo sword again, charging toward Qiao Yuan. While dodging her attacks, Qiao Yuan looked into her eyes and after a long silence finally spoke. "Senior, I want to tell you something." Hearing this, Lu Menglei's sword-wielding hand trembled slightly, and she imperceptibly swallowed. "What? I might not have time to come here for the next few days." "Huh? Why?" "I have something to do." Qiao Yuan paused. "I need to find something in Beijing." "Find something? I can help you look. I'll ask for leave tomorrow morning." "No one knows Beijing better than I do." It's better if you don't get involved in this matter." Lu Menglei's footsteps halted, and the bamboo sword she had raised halfway slowly lowered. The entire kendo training hall fell into silence. She looked into Qiao Yuan's eyes and after a long while finally spoke. "Perhaps it has something to do with your true identity?" Qiao Yuan was stunned. "Don't be so surprised, I'm not stupid." Lu Menglei blinked her eyes. "The calluses on your hands are too thick to have been developed just from practicing with knives as a child. And the aura you give off. People who get into this school through 9 years of compulsory education couldn't possibly have such a strong killing intent. Even some veterans who've been on battlefields might not match you. I guess you must have a mysterious background that you can't casually tell others about. Am I right?" Looking at Lu Menglei's gleaming eyes, Qiao Yuan didn't know how to respond for a moment. "I understand you don't need to answer. Your lack of denial already tells me the answer." Lu Menglei hesitated for a moment, looked around to confirm no one was nearby, then stood on her tiptoes and leaned toward Qiao Yuan's ear. A fragrant breeze entered his nostrils. "Can I join you?" she probed quietly. "No," Qiao Yuan refused decisively. Lu Menglei sighed in disappointment. "Then, do you really have no time to come?" "Any time would work." Qiao Yuan looked at Lu Menglei's hopeful gaze, thought for a moment, then sighed deeply. "If I handle my business during the day, I should have time to come over at night, but it would be very late, around dawn." "That's fine." Lu Menglei's eyes lit up. "Any time works." As long as I can, practice with you, I can come anytime. Seeing this, Chao Yuan stopped refusing. Then tonight. Great. Beijing City night. Lin Chia rubbed his tired eyes as he landed on top of a tall building, looking down at the neon-lit streets below and let out a long sigh. Nothing. What exactly are those Migo looking for? Lin Chia, Chen Han and members from the Night Watchman headquarters had already searched most of the Beijing urban area. Even the area 3 kilometers underground had been scanned by Lin Chia's mental power, but there was nothing unusual. Captain Lin, let's call it a day. You've worked hard. Chen Han's equally exhausted voice came through the earpiece. I guess that's all we can do. If necessary, tomorrow I'll try using Miracle to search for items, though I don't know if it will work. Lin Chia removed his earpiece, checked the time, and his figure disappeared into the night sky like a shadow. Squeak. Lin Chia pushed open the courtyard gate. Inside was quite lively. And Qingyu was sitting under a tree playing chess with Jiang Er, while Li Yifei was sitting in Qingyu's wheelchair, racing around the courtyard and occasionally letting out excited cheers. Chia, where have you been? And Qingyu asked, not having seen Lin Chia all day. Chen Han asked me to help with some official business, so I spent the day at the Beijing station. Lin Chia shrugged helplessly, then changed the subject. By the way, how are you feeling today? Feeling about the same as yesterday. No obvious improvement in computing power, maybe even a slight regression. And Qingyu frowned. I wouldn't call it regression. I'm just one move ahead of you, Jiang Er comforted him. Since Chia is here, you two play a game. I'll go prepare your medicine. Jiang Er left the chessboard and floated into the house. Lin Chia walked over to sit across from Qingyu, picked up the pieces and began playing with him. Chia, I encountered something strange today. While they were playing, Li Yifei drove the wheelchair over to them and spoke with an odd expression. Something strange? Tell me about it. Li Yifei recounted what had happened that day. Lin Chia raised an eyebrow and smiled. That's the new preparatory team on a mission. It's just a remnant soul from the last century. Don't overthink it. But she seemed very fixated on me. These remnant souls are left behind by people who committed suicide in the 5th teaching building for various reasons. Perhaps what haunts her is a man who looks similar to you. Since she's already been taken back to the classroom by Fang Mo and the others, the matter is settled. I see. Li Yifei nodded, looking like he had more to say. What is it? Nothing. I just thought she looked pitiful when she left. Lin Chia's hand paused as he was about to place a chess piece. He turned to look at Li Yifei with a complex expression. Perhaps these young people had difficult lives. If you feel bad about it, you could help her. Help her? How? Talk to her clearly, resolve her inner conflict. They're all wandering souls. If you can help disperse some of the resentment and depression in her heart, that would be a good thing. Li Yifei seemed lost in thought. Soon after, Jiang Er brought hot medicinal soup to Qingyu. After he finished drinking it, Lin Chia stood up and said, Jiang Er, you should continue playing with him. I'm a bit tired and need to sleep. All right. Hey, I can do it too. Li Yifei volunteered enthusiastically. Sister Jiang Er, you go rest. I'll play with him. Don't worry, I won't let him lose too badly. Jiang Er gave him a strange look. Fine, you two play then. Lin Chia went to his room to sleep, and Jiang Er returned to her coffin, leaving only Li Yifei and Qingyu seriously playing chess under the tree. Hee Qingyu, I'll go first? Li Yifei said with a smile. Having lived with them for so long, Li Yifei understood Qingyu's situation. Back then, Qingyu had defeated him at the 6th middle school with his terrifying deductive reasoning, which still left him somewhat traumatized. Now that Qingyu's computing power was impaired, he naturally wouldn't miss this chance for revenge on the chessboard. Sure, Qingyu smiled shyly. Li Yifei confidently placed a piece on the board, and Qingyu followed suit. As time passed, the smile on Li Yifei's face gradually disappeared. Eventually, beads of sweat began to form on his forehead. "You lose," and Qingyu calmly placed the final piece and said with a smile. "This, aren't you supposed to be sick?" Li Yifei looked at the board in disbelief. "It's not that I'm not sick. It's that you're too unskilled," and Qingyu couldn't help saying. "Your level isn't even as good as when Jiang Air plays at an elementary school level with me." Li Yifei shook his head in frustration. "I guess I'm just not good at these things. I'll go back to my room to practice guitar." "Practice guitar?" "Yeah, I'm performing at the welcome party in a few days." At this, Li Yifei became confident again. "Not to brag, but today when I was playing and singing by the roadside, more than 30 girls immediately asked for my contact info." As Li Yifei continued boasting and Qingyu fell into deep thought. "Li Yifei, can you help me with something?" And Qingyu suddenly asked. "You need my help? Just say it. If I can help, I definitely will." And Qingyu paused for a moment then said seriously, "I want to learn guitar." "How's the situation today?" Lin Chia walked into Qin Han's office and asked. Qin Han shook his head bitterly. "No progress. We've practically turned Beijing City upside down, but still haven't detected any aura related to the Cthulhu mythos. Do you think we might have misjudged the situation?" Lin Chia looked at the map of Beijing on the wall, his expression growing increasingly grave. "Nothing. Why is there nothing? Perhaps we've chosen the wrong direction," Lin Chia thoughtfully said. "All our deductions so far have been based on the assumption that what the Migo are looking for comes from the Cthulhu mythos. If what they're seeking actually isn't from the Cthulhu mythology, that might explain things." "Not from the Cthulhu mythology? Then why are they so concerned about it?" "I'm not sure. But this is the only way to explain why I can't sense any trace of the Cthulhu mythos aura, and why we haven't made progress despite searching the entire city. If that's the case, then we're really in trouble." Qin Han stood up, his gaze fixed on the map of Beijing, and slowly said, "Beijing covers more than 10,000 square kilometers with a population of over 20 million. If we don't have a specific target and are just marking out an area, how long will it take us to find anything?" Lin Chia stared at the map for a long time, then sighed helplessly. "In that case, we can only take a gamble. Mortal divine domain? Since all our leads have gone cold, we can only rely on a miracle." Lin Chia casually picked up a ballpoint pen refill from the desk, holding it between his fingers as a faint golden domain quickly expanded. Qin Han consciously stepped back several paces, giving Lin Chia enough space to work. The latter took a deep breath, slowly closed his eyes, and a brilliant golden light flashed from his fingertips. Whoosh! The pen refill streaked through the air, but instead of flying directly toward the map, it suddenly hit the lampshade above, making a dull sound, then traced a long arc before floating down toward a certain spot on the map. The pen refill scraped across the map, the ink marking out an area, then dropped to the floor with a tick. Lin Chia slowly opened his eyes and looked closely. "This is..." Qin Han approached the map, carefully examining the ink-marked area, his eyebrows slightly raised. "Beijing University?" Lin Chia said in surprise. "What a coincidence. Not just Beijing University, but also several streets around it are within the range. If a miracle really occurred, then the search area has indeed been greatly reduced." Lin Chia looked at the ink mark on the map and shook his head helplessly. "After all this effort, we've come full circle back to the starting point. But I didn't sense anything strange at Beijing University either. Perhaps this miracle didn't actually work. Regardless, I'll go arrange personnel to focus on searching around Beijing University." Qin Han immediately turned to leave the room. "We still have 2 days before the next invasion, so we have enough time." Seeing Qin Han's determination, Lin Chia could only nod. "All right, I'll go back and check too." Half an hour later at Beijing University. "Why is the school so lively today?" Lin Chia looked at the crowded open space in the distance, where low speaker sounds were continuously coming through, and several colored light beams shot up into the sky, rhythmically changing direction. Chow Yuan thought for a moment. Tonight is Beijing University's welcome party for new students. The venue was set up last night, so they're probably rehearsing now. Welcome party? Lin Chia nodded thoughtfully. No wonder. I heard Li Yifei has a performance tonight too. Oh. Lin Chia said with surprise. He has a performance? Looks like he's really integrated well these past few days. We can go watch it tonight if we have time. Let's split up. I'll take the eastern section, you take the western section. Carefully investigate anything that doesn't seem like it belongs in a school, or anyone acting suspiciously. Got it. The two separated on the spot, heading in different directions. Lin Chia casually picked up a tree branch, tossed it into the air, and followed the direction that one end pointed to, while carefully scanning the surroundings with his mental power. Fortunately, almost everyone's attention was drawn to the lively welcome party rehearsal, so no one noticed Lin Chia's unusual behavior. He had been moving through the campus for about 10 minutes when suddenly, as if sensing something, he let out a soft exclamation. He looked up and saw several figures quickly flashing on the 4th floor of the teaching building opposite. Fang Mo and Lu Baoyu were moving through the empty corridor, blocking the front and back doors of a classroom. At the window ledge, a male student was anxiously backing away. Relax, we won't hurt you. The outside world isn't suitable for you. You should go back, Fang Mo said calmly, looking through her glasses at a white shadow inside the boy's body. I don't want to go back yet, the boy shook his head repeatedly. Let me stay outside for one more day. I'll go back after wandering around for one more day. No. Please, my dream is just to compete in the track and field one more time. There's a competition tomorrow morning. Just give me one chance. The boy's voice became more pleading. But you're using someone else's body. That's not fair to him or to others, Lu Baoyu said coldly. Sorry, Fang Mo walked toward him step by step. You have to come with us. He gave Lu Baoyu a look and they both charged forward like lightning. The boy at the window gritted his teeth, and the white shadow flew directly out of the body, floating down toward the crowd below. Lu Baoyu narrowed his eyes and was about to jump out the window to chase after it when Fang Mo grabbed him. Are you crazy? This is a school. Jumping from the 4th floor will cause a commotion. Lu Baoyu frowned, about to say something, when a figure walked in from outside the door, unhurriedly holding the floating white shadow in his hand. Lord 7. Fang Mo caught sight of the person and exclaimed in surprise. Why are you here? I was passing by and came to take a look. I also caught him for you. Lin Chia handed the white shadow to Fang Mo, who gripped its shoulder. The shadow hung its head, seeming very dejected. It's all right, don't be too sad. Even if you possessed someone and won the sprint championship, so what? That was someone else's body, not your achievement. Follow Jiang Zhihua and study well. Perhaps one day she can dispel the resentment in your hearts and send you into reincarnation. The regrets of this life might be compensated in the next, Lin Chia consoled. The white shadow sighed helplessly in Fang Mo's hand. How's your mission progress? Lin Chia turned to look at Fang Mo. Not counting this one, there are 3 left, Fang Mo replied. Lin Chia nodded slightly. Keep working hard, and also if you discover any suspicious items or people at school, remember to notify me. Hearing this, Fang Mo paused, seeming to sense something. Lord Chia, is something going to happen at Beijing University? It's not certain yet, just be careful anyway. Okay. Fang Mo and Lu Baoyu took White Shadow and headed directly toward Building 5. Lin Chia picked up a piece of chalk from the ground, tossed it lightly, and it rolled around a few times before pointing in a certain direction outside the classroom. Lin Chia looked in that direction, his eyes narrowing slightly. Outside the window, brilliant LED lights cut through the gradually darkening sky, and in the cheerful music, figures moved quickly across the stage. Li Yifei, right? You sang well. On the spacious outdoor stage, a man wearing a shirt with a work badge walked quickly forward, his face full of approving smiles. Li Yifei stood in the center holding his guitar, scratching his head with a smile. Since your performance was added to the program at the last minute, you'll need to pay attention to your positioning after going on stage. Look, we've already marked on the ground. The staff member earnestly explained the route for Li Yifei's upcoming performance, and he nodded seriously after memorizing it. All right, I've got it. Good. Now there are about 3 hours until the official performance begins. You can go eat and rest for a while, just be back here at 9 o'clock sharp. Sure thing. Li Yifei slung his guitar over his back and was about to turn and head straight to the cafeteria when his peripheral vision caught Fang Mo and Lu Baoyu leading a white shadow gradually disappearing down the road. He paused momentarily. His gaze fell on the white shadow, and his mind once again recalled the tear-stained figure under the willow tree that day, causing his heart to tighten. If you really feel bad about it, you can go help her. They're all wandering souls, and it would be good to help disperse some of their resentment and depression. Lin Chia's voice echoed in his memory. Old Li, come on, let's go eat. Zhang Yang stood below the stage waving at him. Li Yifei watched as the white shadow gradually disappeared at the end of the road. Gritting his teeth, he jumped down from the stage. You go ahead and eat, I have something to do. Ignoring Zhang Yang's response, Li Yifei ran with his guitar toward Fang Mo and the others. The two figures with the white shadow quickly came into his view. Wait! Li Yifei shouted as he ran up to them. Lu Baoyu stopped, staring at Li Yifei with a somewhat cold expression. It's you. Fang Mo recognized Li Yifei. What do you want? You're Chia's juniors, right? I'm his brother. Li Yifei patted his chest. I want to see the remnant soul. Lin Chia's brother? Lu Baoyu looked questioningly at Fang Mo, who sniffed lightly and nodded to him. He has a strong scent of Lord Chia on him, so he should be telling the truth. What do you want with the remnant soul? I want to ask something. You've got the wrong one, Lu Baoyu said flatly. The one we're escorting isn't the one who stopped you yesterday. Li Yifei was stunned. Looking closely, the white shadow was indeed taller than the one who had stopped him yesterday. Yesterday's was a girl, but today's was a man. If you're looking for that one, then come with us, Fang Mo patiently explained. We're actually going to take this one to the same place. Li Yifei had only heard from Lin Chia that the girl from yesterday was a remnant soul, but knew nothing about classroom 609. He had assumed that the white shadow he just saw with Fang Mo was the same one from yesterday, which was why he had rushed over. Well, all right then. Li Yifei checked the time. Still early. Li Yifei followed behind Fang Mo and Lu Baoyu, gradually disappearing at the end of the road. Meanwhile, at the welcome party rehearsal site. We're late. Li Yifei seems to have just finished singing, and Qingyu said with some regret as he wheeled his chair closer to the central stage. It doesn't matter, it's just a rehearsal. He'll have the official performance later. Jiang Er's voice was unconcerned. She paused as if thinking of something. By the way, what were you and Li Yifei doing secretly in the room yesterday and today? Nothing much. And Qingyu shrugged. His guitar couldn't be plugged in, so he asked me to fix it for him. You know how to fix things now? I only have impaired logical computing power, I'm not stupid. Guitars are actually quite simple. Oh. As they were talking, Lin Chia walked up behind them. Chia? Did you come to watch Li Yifei's rehearsal too? And Qingyu asked in surprise. Lin Chia stopped mid-sentence, quietly slipped the chalk into his pocket and continued, Yes, I came to watch his rehearsal. And Qingyu was still injured and unaware of the current situation in Beijing, so naturally Lin Chia wouldn't tell him what he was looking for, instead going along with his assumption. Too bad, he's already finished rehearsing. We'll have to wait for the official performance in 3 hours, Jiang Er said helplessly. 3 hours left. Lin Chia checked the time and nodded slightly. Alright, I'll walk around campus some more and I'll come back to find you when it starts. As Lin Chia's figure gradually receded into the distance, and Qingyu sat in his wheelchair silently watching. Jiang Er. Are you all hiding something from me? Jiang Er was taken aback. What do you mean? These past 2 days, Chia has been nowhere to be seen, saying he's helping Chen Han handle official business. He's the kind of person who plays mind games with Chao Yuan just to avoid washing dishes, so how would he be so kind as to help Chen Han deal with boring paperwork? And for 2 consecutive days. Besides, although he's our team leader, he's really not good with official documents, so why would Chen Han ask him? And Qingyu paused, then continued, Chao Yuan too, he hasn't spent much time with Lu Menglei these past 2 days, and keeps disappearing with Chia. If you tell me they're not doing something behind my back, I won't believe it. Jiang Er's voice sounded awkward. With Qingyu being so direct, Jiang Er knew she couldn't keep it from him anymore, so she explained everything that had happened. You're saying, those Migo are looking for something in Beijing and they might come a 3rd time? Qingyu frowned. I know about the 2nd time, but when was the first time they appeared? Jiang Er thought carefully. Probably around the time you just woke up? Just when I woke up. Qingyu suddenly froze. He clearly remembered that he was awakened from his coma by an excruciating headache. And then the first Migo descended upon Beijing, and the 2nd Migo invasion also occurred when he had a headache. Both Migo invasions coincided exactly with his headaches. Isn't that too much of a coincidence? When the first Migo descended, Lin Chia went directly to hunt it down, not knowing that Qingyu had a headache at the same time. He only knew that Qingyu woke up when he returned, so naturally he wouldn't connect Qingyu with the Migo's descent. But Qingyu was different. He immediately connected the timing of both Migo descents with his headaches. Is it a coincidence? Or? Qingyu's brow furrowed deeper. What's wrong? Jiang Er noticed his unusual expression and asked. Qingyu explained his thoughts, and after a moment of shock, Jiang Er immediately shook her head. You're overthinking it. Your headache is an aftereffect of having a corner of your soul cut off by the heavenly venerable, while Migo are K-system creatures living in spacetime rifts. These 2 things have no connection. But before the heavenly venerable cut off a corner of my soul, I was contaminated by the K-system. Many people have been contaminated by the K-system. Qin Yangrong, the gods of Takamidahara, the gods of Asgard, Shui Gu. They've all been contaminated to various degrees, yet why haven't we seen Migo descending for them? Qingyu was speechless. Maybe I'm overthinking it. After pondering back and forth, he couldn't find any other factors connecting this matter to himself, so he had to suppress this thought for now. 7 nights and the others will handle this, so don't worry too much. Jiang Er checked the time. There's still some time before the performance starts. Let's go to the cafeteria for a meal first. Building 5, Classroom 609. She's in here. Go in and find her yourself. Fang Mo sent the white shadow into the classroom and said to Li Yifei behind her. Li Yifei looked dubiously at the eerie classroom in the night, hesitated for a moment but still stepped in. Fang Mo and Lu Baozhu turned and left to continue searching for lost soul fragments. At this hour, all classes were over, and today was the welcome party, so the entire 6th floor of Building 5 was dead silent, with only Li Yifei moving around in the classroom. Just as Li Yifei was feeling confused, a white shadow suddenly floated out of nowhere, opening its arms as if wanting to embrace him. However, as soon as her fingertips touched Li Yifei, they passed through him as if he were nothing, leaving her frozen in place. Li Yifei turned to look, carefully identifying her. Last century's plain dress, twin ponytails. It was definitely the same soul fragment that had stopped him earlier. Her mouth opened and closed, seemingly calling out something, but without vocal cords she couldn't make any sound. From her lip movements she appeared to be calling the name Chong Hong. Meanwhile, white shadows quietly floated to the back of the classroom, curiously observing the two, occasionally whispering to each other, like a group of last-century onlookers gathering to watch. "Miss, I think there's been a misunderstanding between us." Li Yifei cleared his throat and said seriously. "My name is Li Yifei, not the Changhong you're calling. Strictly speaking, I'm not even human." The white shadow paused slightly, gesturing wildly as if trying to express something, but Li Yifei couldn't understand it all and could only stand there bewildered. At this moment, the spectating onlookers thoughtfully offered a blurry notebook. This notebook looked extremely old, emanating a faint energy, appearing not to be a modern item but rather a personal belonging of these soul fragments. The white shadow took the notebook and quickly wrote something, then showed it to Li Yifei. "You're him. You look exactly the same." Li Yifei tried to take the pen and notebook to write something back, but his fingertips passed right through them. Only then did he realize these objects weren't from the world of the living. He withdrew his hand and said helplessly, "Miss, you've really mistaken me. Perhaps we just look very similar, but I'm not." The pen, controlled by the white shadow, rapidly wrote again. "You have a mole on your second-to-last tailbone." What the hell? The moment he saw these words, Li Yifei suddenly covered the area above his buttocks, his eyes widening. How do you know that?" "I saw it when you were bathing back then." "Miss, that's not appropriate to say. You are Changhong. I remember every detail about you. I could never be mistaken." The white shadow wrote this sentence and looked earnestly at Li Yifei. Although her face wasn't clear, Li Yifei could feel her persistent gaze. Li Yifei scratched his head, feeling his mind go blank. He had clearly never met this girl before, and she was a soul fragment from decades ago. How could they possibly have crossed paths? Could it be reincarnation? If he were human, reincarnation might make sense, but he was just a snake demon. Just then, a flash of insight crossed Li Yifei's mind, and his body trembled slightly. He stared at the white shadow girl before him, his expression gradually becoming complex. He probably knew what was going on now. Strictly speaking, there was no Li Yifei in the world at all. He was just a second personality created by the Nanda snake demon to hide itself after this mystery descended to Earth. He had known this for several years. He was a snake demon, so he couldn't possibly reincarnate or have met this girl decades ago. The only explanation was that the human shell of Li Yifei originally belonged to the Changhong the girl spoke of. The Nanda snake demon wasn't human and wouldn't have a human body. The reason he could survive in human society for so long with the appearance of Li Yifei was most likely because when it first descended upon Great Xia, it killed a human and transformed into his likeness. And this human was the Changhong the girl had known back then. This explained why the girl would mistake him for Changhong, while Li Yifei himself had no knowledge of it. Li Yifei looked at the white shadow before him with complex eyes, feeling an unprecedented guilt rising in his heart. In a sense, the Changhong the girl spoke of was killed by his own hands. Seeing Li Yifei standing there in a daze for so long, the white shadow tilted her head thoughtfully, then wrote on the notebook with some excitement. "Changhong, do you remember now?" Li Yifei remained silent for a long time, finally forcing a smile. "Sorry. I still don't remember clearly." White Shadow lowered her head, seemingly disappointed. "How about you tell me about your relationship? Maybe I'll remember something." White Shadow thought for a moment, then picked up a pen and wrote in the notebook. "We met at the auditorium of Beijing University. At that time, just like yesterday, you sat in the center of the stage holding your guitar. Your silhouette became everyone's focus under the spotlight. Your singing made countless girls fall for you, including me. We got to know each other through student union work and quickly fell in love. We spent 3 years together here, privately pledging ourselves to each other under the stars." When Li Yifei read this, his mouth fell open uncontrollably. Without realizing it, the other curious white shadows had gathered around the table, eagerly reading the words written in the notebook, occasionally giving Li Yifei strange looks. Those 3 years together were truly happy. We attended classes together, studied together, composed music together. You taught me to sing in the music classroom after class, and I helped you review until dawn before exams. Until that day. The white shadow holding the pen paused briefly, then continued writing. It was the night before the graduation party. As Beijing University's best singer at the time, you were scheduled to perform the finale. You said you would give me a surprise. But that night you disappeared. We searched the entire university but couldn't find you. Later, the police searched for 3 days around the university and finally found your blood-stained clothes on a small path behind the school, along with a diamond ring wrapped in a gift bag. They all said you were dead, but I didn't believe it. I searched for you tirelessly throughout Beijing for 10 days, looking everywhere, but still couldn't find any trace of you. I don't remember how I got back to school. I didn't attend the graduation ceremony or take graduation photos. I just walked through every place in Beijing University where we had been together, finally arriving at this teaching building that held most of our memories. When I was standing on the rooftop in a daze, I seemed to hear your guitar. The sound was coming from below. By the time I came to my senses, I had already jumped. White Shadow slowly put down the pen. A deathly silence fell around them. The other white shadows quietly stepped back, turning to look at Li Yifei. Li Yifei stood there like a statue, opening and closing his mouth, momentarily unable to speak. He wasn't Chong Hong. He was just a Nanda snake demon wearing Chong Hong's flesh, walking in this world. He himself was the culprit behind all this. After a long silence, Li Yifei looked into White Shadow's eyes and spoke hoarsely. I'm sorry, but I still can't remember. For a moment, Li Yifei had considered acknowledging everything in Chong Hong's name, but the timeline made no sense. This White Shadow's suicide happened decades ago. After so much time, how could she still maintain her original appearance? Besides, if he really acknowledged it, then what? Let her know that Chong Hong didn't actually die? Then what was her suicide for? Li Yifei couldn't possibly accompany this girl forever under the name of Chong Hong. After he left, this girl's lingering soul would remain alone in this classroom. Wouldn't that be even more torturous? After much consideration, Li Yifei thought it best to dispel her notion. I understand your story now, but I'm really not him, Li Yifei said sincerely. Perhaps I might be his reincarnation or something, which is why we look so similar, but I'm just Li Yifei, not the Chong Hong you knew. If reincarnation truly exists, then my standing here might mean that Chong Hong did indeed meet with misfortune back then. Since everything has become the past and Chong Hong has moved on to his next life, you should also let go. As Li Yifei's words fell, White Shadow pressed her lips together, staring at him for a long time before lowering her head in disappointment. Several white shadows walked out from the back of the classroom and patted her shoulder, seemingly offering comfort. After a moment, she gathered her courage and wrote in the notebook again. I'm sorry, I mistook you for someone else. I've troubled you. It's fine, really, no trouble at all. Li Yifei waved his hands repeatedly. Seeing White Shadow silently weeping, he felt immense guilt. Although it was the Nanda snake demon who killed Chong Hong, not his Li Yifei personality, ultimately everything stemmed from him, making him feel like a truly unforgivable beast. Do you have any other wishes? Is there anything I can help you with? Li Yifei asked tentatively. White Shadow thought for a moment, consulted with the other white shadows, then continued writing. We do have a small wish. According to classmates who just returned from outside, today is Beijing University's welcome party? Possible we'd like to see it. We've been here for decades and haven't heard anyone sing or dance for a very long time. It should be quite lively, right? The other white shadows nodded in agreement, looking at Li Yifei with hopeful expressions. Go see the welcome party. Li Yifei scratched his head. If I open the door for you, can you go out? No, Teacher Zhang's barrier is invisible. Opening the door won't help unless someone breaks it with special methods like that boy did earlier. But then Teacher Jiang would get angry again, wouldn't she? Teacher Jiang? Where is she? I'll go beg her to let you out for one night. Li Yifei immediately said. Teacher Jiang usually only comes late at night. We don't know where she is now. Li Yifei looked up at the time. There was still over an hour before the welcome party started. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Wait here. I'll go find her." "Wait for me." Li Yifei turned and rushed out of the classroom like a bolt of lightning, quickly sprinting toward the exit of the teaching building. Not here either. Chao Yuan walked out of the gymnasium, looked at the gradually darkening sky and sighed helplessly. He had been searching this area for almost 2 hours with no results. Besides the places he had already checked, the only place left seemed to be. Chao Yuan turned his head in a certain direction. Under the night sky, the Kendo Club's training ground was still brightly lit. He wondered if she would be there at this hour. After a moment's hesitation, he stepped inside. "Junior Chao Yuan." In the empty training ground, Lu Menglei, who was practicing with a bamboo sword, saw Chao Yuan and her eyes immediately lit up. "Why are you here alone?" Chao Yuan asked. "The welcome party is about to start. Everyone else went to the venue. What about you? Aren't you going?" I. Lu Menglei pressed her lips together, hiding the bamboo sword behind her back, her cheeks slightly flushed as she spoke. "I wanted to wait and go with you." Chao Yuan looked at Lu Menglei's expression, which practically had bashful written all over her face, and was momentarily stunned before his own face reddened. He awkwardly cleared his throat, pretended to think for a moment, then tentatively asked, "So, shall we go?" "Yes." Lu Menglei responded excitedly, then seemingly realizing she was being too obvious, composed herself and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'll go change clothes first. Would you mind waiting a bit?" "Sure." After Chao Yuan nodded, Lu Menglei quickly rushed into the training hall's changing room and hurriedly changed her clothes. Chao Yuan took the opportunity to walk around the training hall alone, searching everywhere but finding nothing unusual. When he turned back, Lu Menglei was already standing at the changing room door wearing a light purple dress. Every time Chao Yuan had seen Lu Menglei before, she had been wearing loose kendo uniforms. When he saw her walk out in a dress, he froze in place. The long dress perfectly outlined Lu Menglei's slender figure. Just by those full, mature curves, it was clear she was no student. The light purple fabric clung to her fair skin, looking both lively and elegant. Even under the dark night sky, it was enough to catch anyone's eye. Chao Yuan stared blankly at Lu Menglei before him, unconsciously swallowing. "Does it not look good?" Lu Menglei asked worriedly, seeing no reaction from Chao Yuan. "It looks good." Chao Yuan nodded emphatically. "Really good. That's good." The blush on Lu Menglei's cheeks deepened. She had specially prepared this dress in the changing room for tonight's party. She thought Chao Yuan wouldn't come tonight and all her preparations would be wasted, but unexpectedly there was this turn of events. "The party is about to start, shall we go?" Lu Menglei tucked her bamboo sword halfway into her backpack and was about to put it on when Chao Yuan took it from her. Chao Yuan held the bag in one hand and smiled slightly. "The bag is too heavy, I'll carry it." A blush flashed across Lu Menglei's cheeks. "Then, what about me?" I'll take you too." Chao Yuan extended his other hand and grabbed Lu Menglei's palm. Her hand trembled slightly as if electrified, but she didn't pull away, allowing him to lead her out of the training hall. Under the dim night sky, her face had turned as red as an apple. "Looks like it's about to start." Lin Chia looked back at the welcome party venue booming with music, hesitated for a moment, then stepped toward it. Just as he was about to enter the party grounds, a voice suddenly came from behind. "Captain Lin." "Chin Han." Lin Chia turned to look, surprised to see who had arrived. From the direction of the Beijing University gate, Chin Han in casual clothes was walking over with Squad 006 member Su Liao, smiling. "What are you doing here?" "We just finished searching the nearby streets and heard there was some excitement to see here, so we came to relax." Chin Han looked at the many flashing LED lights in the party venue and exclaimed, "This setup is impressive. as expected of Beijing University. I was just heading there myself, let's go together. Lin Chia led the two into the party grounds, not pushing to the front row but standing at the very back, gazing at the lively stage from afar. Compared to the waving glow sticks and cheers throughout the venue, the two of them standing in the shadows seemed out of place. Oh right, I have something to give you. Chen Han seemed to remember something and pulled out two black boxes from his pocket, handing them to Lin Chia. What are these? Merit medals from the Night Watchers. We've been busy with memorial ceremonies for the fallen Night Watchers these past few days, and headquarters only just found time for the awards. One is the Nightfall Team's Starry Sea Medal, recognizing your entire team's outstanding performance in the Chinen Gate battle. The other is an individual Starry Sea Medal. Please pass it to Qingyu. An individual medal for Qingyu? Lin Chia nodded, not surprised by this. No problem. Based on Nightfall Squad's performance in the Chinen Gate battle, a Starry Sea Medal was unquestionable. As for Qingyu, he had single-handedly saved all of Great Xia, absolutely deserving an individual Starry Sea Medal. Lin Chia put away the two medals and continued watching the welcome party program. Undoubtedly, this was the grandest party Lin Chia had ever seen on campus, with sound systems, LED screens and projector lights rivaling those of a music festival. The performers were mostly current students or distinguished alumni skilled in singing and dancing. Some had become professional singers, others had established their own dance studios, truly a display of diverse talents. While Lin Chia was focused on watching the performance, Chao Yuan entered from the entrance nearby, holding Lu Minglei's hand. Seeing this, Lin Chia raised an eyebrow, his expression becoming quite interesting. What a ladies' man. Chao Yuan usually seemed so slow-witted. Apparently he'd invested all his intelligence points in charming older women? Your team members seem to be integrating very well these past few days. Chen Han also noticed Chao Yuan and couldn't help but chuckle. They're certainly having a fulfilling vacation. That's a good thing. They deserve some rest. They're certainly resting, but what about you? Chen Han turned to look at Lin Chia. Since you arrived here, you've only enjoyed college life for a day or two, right? Then you've been running around with us everywhere. Aren't you tired? Of course I'm tired, but some things need to be done by someone. Lin Chia shrugged. I'm the captain of Nightfall, so naturally I have to take on more responsibility. Lin Chia looked at Chao Yuan and Qingyu and Jiang Er in the crowd, his eyes complex. Our squad started with 7 people and now only a few of us are left. Though no one mentions it, I know very well that the feeling of losing teammates one by one weighs on everyone's hearts like a boulder, making it hard to breathe. This trip to Beijing University isn't just for Qingyu, but for everyone else too, to have a chance to catch their breath. As long as they can relax properly for a while, what does it matter if I, as their captain, work a little harder? Chen Han looked at Lin Chia and sighed deeply. You know, without the outer gods, without war, without the mysteries, what you're experiencing now would be the life people your age should have. Perhaps. Lin Chia looked at Qingyu in the crowd with a complicated expression. His thumb rubbed against his palm, turning the chalk used for finding objects into powder that scattered in the wind. He slowly said, Unfortunately, there are no what-ifs in this world. Hello. I'm looking for teacher Jiang Zhihua. In the academic administration building, Li Yifei rushed to the central information desk and asked, Teacher Jiang Zhihua? The female teacher at the information desk paused, searching on her computer. You mean the administrator of Building 5? She got sick this morning and went home on sick leave. Li Yifei froze on the spot. Went home sick? Yes. Student, did you need something from her? No, nothing. Li Yifei walked out of the administration building in a daze, sitting on the steps at the main entrance, looking dejected. With Jiang Zhihua not at school, it would be impossible to find her to release those lingering souls. Even if he could get her phone number or address, it would be too late by the time she arrived. Li Yifei had also considered asking Lin Chia to open the barrier with another glare. But Lin Chia and his team had spent 2 or 3 days gathering the wandering souls back to the classroom. Now he would ask them to open it again and release those souls? Setting aside whether some mischievous souls might disrupt the evening party and refuse to return to the classroom, what right did he have to make Chia and the others pay for his guilt? Li Yifei was too sentimental. He wanted to help those lingering souls but didn't want to trouble Lin Chia and his team. Now with Jiang Zhihua absent and himself lacking the ability to open the barrier, he could only sit on the stairs in front of the administration building, scratching his head in frustration. In the distance at the evening party venue, the audience's cheers rose and fell like waves echoing through the quiet campus. A spotlight swept across the administration building behind Li Yifei as his hand slowly clenched. Li Yifei looked down at the time. 10 minutes remained until his performance. He needed to head to the welcome party venue now. Li Yifei silently shouldered his guitar and ran quickly toward the venue. If he missed his performance time, there would be a gap in the program, and if the hosts rearranged the schedule, his performance would be cancelled. But after running just a few steps, he gradually slowed down, his expression full of conflict. He had promised Zhang Yang he would perform at the welcome party, but he had also promised those lingering souls in classroom 609 that he would return for them. At this moment, those white shadows might be waiting by the window, hoping he would take them to the venue to watch the grand event. But even if he went back, what then? He hadn't found Jiang Zhihua and couldn't bring them out of that classroom. Even if he returned, he could only bring disappointing news. Li Yifei stood in the middle of the dim road. Not far to his left was the welcome party venue with its interplay of light and shadow, while to his right stood the nearly empty teaching building. A breeze swept the withered leaves from the treetops overhead, lightly brushing his shoulders. As maple leaves flashed before his eyes, for a moment he seemed to see again the anguished, weeping expressions of those white shadows from that day when he sang here. Li Yifei's heart suddenly trembled. Damn it! I'm going all in. Li Yifei gritted his teeth and, with his guitar on his back, sprinted toward the welcome party venue. He rushed to the edge of the venue where a staff member who had been waiting in the corner spotted him, eyes brightening, and hurriedly approached saying, "Student Li Yifei, why are you so late? Your performance is about to start." "Sorry, senior." Li Yifei pressed his hands together sincerely and said, "I really have something urgent, so I probably can't perform today. I thought it would be too rude to leave without saying anything, so I came to let you know. Please rearrange the program order. I'm really sorry." While speaking, Li Yifei forcefully pulled down a string of balloons and streamers from the edge of the venue, then turned and raced toward the teaching building. Hey, you. Seeing Li Yifei run off, the staff member stood dumbfounded, only regaining his senses moments later to urgently rearrange the program order over his walkie-talkie. In this vast venue with over 1,000 people gathered, Li Yifei's coming and going would hardly attract attention, but there were exceptions. Why did Li Yifei rush off again? And Qingyu looked at the program list in his hand with surprise. Isn't his performance coming up soon? I don't know. He's not getting stage fright, is he? He doesn't seem like someone who would get stage fright. And Qingyu thoughtfully looked in the direction Li Yifei had gone. It seems we might not get to hear his formal performance. Bang! The door of classroom 609 was forcefully opened, and Li Yifei stood in the doorway, guitar on his back, clutching balloons and streamers, panting heavily. Seeing it was Li Yifei, the white shadows hiding in the classroom gradually appeared. The twin-tailed white shadow curiously walked to the front, her lips moving as if asking about the result. "Sorry everyone. I still can't get you out." Li Yifei caught his breath and spoke bitterly. Hearing this, the white shadows lowered their heads in disappointment. After hesitating for a moment, the girl wrote something in her notebook and placed it in front of Li Yifei. "It's okay, we can hear some sounds from here too. Thank you for trying for us." Li Yifei's gaze fell on the white shadow. Though he couldn't see her face clearly, he could feel that she was smiling at him. Friends. Although I can't get you out, you can still see this welcome party. Li Fei grinned. Under the puzzled gazes of the many shadows, Li Fei decorated the classroom with the balloons and streamers he had snatched. The previously lifeless classroom suddenly gained some color. Li Fei forcefully pushed open all the windows on the north side of the classroom, and the music from the distant venue immediately became clearer. He took off his guitar, picked up a piece of chalk, and wrote several crooked large characters on the blackboard with forceful taps. Welcome party. Li Fei tossed the chalk into the trash can, stood tall and straight on the podium, and swept his smiling gaze over the many white shadows below. From now on, whatever they sing at their welcome party, I'll sing for you along with their sound system. If they dance, I'll dance for you too. Although my dancing is quite painful to watch, I can still liven things up for everyone. Everyone, what you're about to see is Li Fei's personal welcome party special. Applause. At Li Fei's impassioned voice, all the lingering souls stood stunned in the classroom. After a long moment, someone came to their senses and began to applaud for Li Fei. Gradually, more and more souls reacted, looking at the figure on the podium with emotion, frantically clapping their hands. But they had no physical form, so even their applause made no sound. The classroom remained deathly silent. Li Fei didn't mind at all. He sat directly on the edge of the podium, put his guitar in front of him, listened to the sounds from outside for a moment and smiled. All right, now I'll present the first song of tonight, Blue Lotus. Twang. Nothing can stop your longing for freedom. Brilliant lights flashed in the distance. In the dead silence of night, that figure sat in the dark, empty classroom, singing passionately. Huh. Chow Yuan looked at the jazz dancers walking onto the stage with a puzzled expression. What's wrong? Lu Menglei, wearing a light purple dress, asked while holding his arm. Strange, this segment should have been my friend's solo performance. How did it suddenly change to jazz dance? Could there be a mistake in the program? Not sure. Maybe they switched the order. Chow Yuan shrugged and turned his gaze away from the stage. Lu Menglei blinked and started to initiate conversation. By the way, Junior Chow Yuan, do you like jazz dance? Me? It's okay, I guess. I don't particularly like it either. This dance is too elegant, too delicate, not as sharp and exhilarating as swordsmanship. Lu Menglei glanced at Chow Yuan and couldn't help saying, if they replace this performance with a real sword battle, that would be much more interesting. That kind of performance wouldn't pass the censors, would it? Speaking of which, Junior Chow Yuan, why do you always refuse to use a bamboo sword? Lu Menglei asked curiously. Even when practicing with me, you only use tree branches. I don't like using swords or knives. But when you fought in the past, you surely couldn't have used tree branches, right? Chow Yuan was speechless. I know you might be afraid I'll feel inferior if I see your true abilities, but it's okay really. I promise not to tell anyone. Next time, let's find a place where it's just the two of us and you can show me your real sword technique with a bamboo sword, okay? Well, Chow Yuan looked troubled. If you show me your real abilities, I'll grant you one request. Lu Menglei bit her lip lightly, her cheeks slightly flushed. Request? What kind of request? Any request. Lu Menglei added, but nothing too excessive. How do we define excessive? I'll be the judge of that. Chow Yuan looked at Lu Menglei's expectant eyes and smiled. All right, I promise. Hearing this, Lu Menglei immediately cheered. Just then, several girls standing at a distance waved at her. My friends are here for the show too. Junior, wait for me a moment, I'll go say hello to them. Sure. Lu Menglei hurried over to the girls with small steps. They huddled together and said something, and several curious gazes fell on Chow Yuan from afar. Chow Yuan's mouth twitched slightly as he sighed and quietly walked toward the front of the crowd. From the corner of his eye, he saw someone in a wheelchair who tapped his shoulder. Qingyu, have you seen Li Fei? Yes, he went backstage and then ran out. And Qingyu smiled helplessly. I guess we won't be seeing his brilliant performance tonight. And Qingyu looked at Chao Yuan, the corners of his mouth turning up slightly. You and that girl are progressing quickly. You saw everything? You were standing so close to me it would be hard not to notice. Chao Yuan grinned without denying it and said directly, she's my type and she has a good personality. I'm not far from fulfillment. Are you really sure about this? Chao Yuan looked at Qingyu, seemingly confused. Sure about what? We can't stay here for long. Once we return to the world where we belong, you won't be able to see each other anymore. Won't be able to see each other? It's not that serious. Chao Yuan shook his head. Even if I go on missions in the mist, I can return in a month or two. I can visit her during my free time, and even with the most intensive missions, we could meet at least once a year, right? Isn't once a year too infrequent? So many border guards and narcotics officers can't go home to see their families for years. If it's true love, once a year is enough. But what if you sacrifice yourself out there? Can't you wish me better luck? I'm just saying, what if? If I die, I'll have someone notify her. I won't let her wait for me. After answering, Chao Yuan looked at Qingyu with a complex expression. Qingyu, aren't you being too pessimistic? This isn't pessimism. It's just that we can't give them a perfect future right now, can we? Love isn't like warfare. It doesn't need such careful planning. You're overthinking and suffering because of it. Chao Yuan patted Qingyu's shoulder. Lin Chia had told him the same thing a few days ago. Look at Jiang Er. She likes you simply because she likes you. He gives so much for you. When has she ever considered all these complications? And she's done so much for you, but what about you? Have you ever given her anything in return? You're always either dissecting or researching. When have you ever focused on her? Have you ever made her feel even once how much you love her? Love is mutual. Even Lin Chia, that straight man, understands this. Why can't you figure it out? Chao Yuan's series of questions left Qingyu speechless. He sat in his wheelchair, staring blankly ahead, motionless. Seeing this, Chao Yuan sighed helplessly. He gave Qingyu's shoulder a firm pat. I'm going now. Think about it. Chao Yuan made his way through the crowd back to his original position. Lu Menglei had already said goodbye to her friends and was standing with him again. Qingyu, look. I secretly bought you ice cream. Just as Qingyu was lost in thought, a white figure emerged silently from the ground with a three-colored ice cream cone. A soft laugh echoed in his earpiece. I controlled one from the store and left 10 yuan on the shelf for the owner. I floated all the way here without anyone noticing. Impressive, right? Qingyu blankly accepted the ice cream. He couldn't see Jiang Er hiding underground, but through the earpiece he could hear her pure, joyful laughter. Impressive. He nodded slightly with a complex expression. What's wrong? Something on your mind? Qingyu didn't speak. At this moment his heart was filled with mixed emotions. The successive insights from Lin Chia and Chao Yuan finally made him truly realize his problem. He and Jiang Er had been together for a long time, but throughout this long period, it was almost always Jiang Er taking care of him. Whether he was dissecting, researching, injured, unconscious, or at his lowest point, Jiang Er always stood by his side. In her world there seemed to be only Qingyu, and he himself had hardly ever done anything for Jiang Er. Perhaps this was because he had become too accustomed to her presence. Familiarity breeds neglect. Qingyu looked at the stage that had captured countless gazes, his eyes flickering slightly. Jiang Er, can you help me with something? What help? I want to eat a jianbing guizi. Jianbing guizi? Jiang Er was stunned but still nodded. Okay. I'll figure something out, wait for me here, I'll be back soon. Jiang Er's voice disappeared from the Bluetooth earpiece, and her phantom figure sank into the ground, flying off in an unknown direction. After confirming Jiang Er had left, Qingyu pushed his wheelchair, heading directly toward the back of the crowd. Chao Yuan, he called out to two people in the crowd. Chow Yuan, who was chatting with Lu Menglei, saw him and asked in surprise, "Why are you alone? Where's Jiang Er?" "She's not here right now." And Qingyu took a deep breath and said seriously, "I need your help." "What do you want to do?" As Qingyu slowly explained something, Lu Menglei's eyes gradually widened, her mouth forming an O shape, while Chow Yuan's lips curved into a smile. "You've finally figured it out." Chow Yuan didn't hesitate at all. "No problem, I've got this." "This? Are you really going to do this?" Lu Menglei asked uncertainly. "Yes, you can wait for me here." "Towei. I can't miss something this exciting." Lu Menglei made up her mind and said earnestly to Qingyu, "Don't worry, Junior, we'll definitely handle this." Qingyu smiled shyly and the three quickly disappeared into the crowd. "Your team members seem to be sneaking backstage mysteriously," Chen Han said, having spotted this from a distance. "Let them be, consider it their last celebration." "Last celebration?" Chen Han was stunned, looking at Lin Chia with confusion. "What do you mean?" "After tonight ends we'll have to leave," Lin Chia sighed. It may have found Migo's target." "You found it? Where?" Lin Chia looked in the direction where Qingyu had gone, his expression complicated. He didn't answer the question, just shook his head. "I'm not sure yet. I hope I'm just overthinking." Jianbingguizi. Jiang Er's form floated near a small stall at the side entrance of Beijing University, her pretty brows slightly furrowed. "How am I going to buy this?" Jiang Er was after all just a magnetic ghost. Although she could secretly control ice cream to fly out of a convenience store, when faced with food that needed to be made on the spot like Jianbingguizi, she couldn't just make it fly away in front of the vendor, could she? After much consideration, Jiang Er could only silently apologize, then directly possess a student who was walking out of the school gate alone. Using the student's body, she walked straight to the Jianbingguizi stall. But unfortunately, this was the busiest time for the small stall. By the time she got through the line and bought the Jianbingguizi, almost half an hour had passed. By now, the welcome party must be almost over? Jiang Er left the student's body, carrying the steaming Jianbingguizi, and quickly flew toward the venue, feeling somewhat anxious. She flew into the campus, saw that the venue was still illuminated with brilliant lights, and knew she had caught the tail end of the party. She breathed a slight sigh of relief, then quickly began searching for Qingyu. But after circling the entire venue, she couldn't find him. Countless students were excitedly waving light sticks in the venue, cheering for the finale of the party, but Jiang Er had no interest in watching the program. Her attention was entirely on finding Qingyu. After searching the area around the venue as well, she still couldn't find him and grew increasingly anxious. On stage, the last program of the party had finished, and 4 hosts in gorgeous clothes walked to the center of the stage to deliver the final address and blessings. Unable to find Qingyu, Jiang Er was frantically pacing. She immediately opened her communicator, trying to contact others with her ability, but Qingyu, Chow Yuan, and Li Yifei seemed not to hear. Finally, Lin Chia leisurely opened his communicator. "Chia. Qingyu is missing." Jiang Er urgently spoke. I know. Lin Chia's voice wasn't panicked at all and even carried a hint of amusement. "Don't worry. Why don't you turn and look at the stage?" Jiang Er was stunned and immediately turned to look at the stage. "Here, we wish all the new students of the class of 2025 a beautiful life." Click. Before the 4 hosts could finish their address, the lights and sound on the stage suddenly shut off, plunging it into darkness and silence. The students who had begun to leave were startled by the sudden darkness on stage and began pointing and discussing in confusion. The next moment, more than a dozen spotlights hanging on the support frame behind the stage lit up simultaneously, bright lights turning to the center of the stage, and a figure sitting in a wheelchair suddenly appeared in everyone's view. Seeing that figure, Jiang Er's pupils dilated slightly, her eyes showing shock. It was a scholarly-looking young man wearing black-framed glasses, sitting under the intense spotlights, holding a guitar that had appeared from somewhere, with a standing microphone in front of him. Without elaborate makeup or fancy clothes, he had an indescribable purity and simplicity. He looked at Jiang Er in the crowd, a faint smile appearing on his face, gentle and somewhat shy. "Is this an Easter egg for the party? I don't know. It's not on the program. It should be the closing music, right?" But the hosts didn't even finish speaking. "By the way, where are the hosts?" "I got it, the program order was changed. Look at the program list, there's a solo singing and guitar performance, right? We didn't see it earlier, it must have been moved to the end. The performer is called Li Yifei, it must be him." "Great, I wasn't ready to leave yet. Let's wave our light sticks." Seeing that the party was about to end but a guitar performance had been added, many audience members perked up. They picked up the light sticks they had put down, ready to cherish the last wonderful moments of the party. In the dim audience seats, the faint light of waving light sticks and cheers grew more and more, turning into a sea of fluorescence, but Qinyu's gaze remained fixed on one spot. At this moment he didn't see the thousands of spectators who had come for the welcome party, only the girl in the white dress who had brought him a steaming jianbing guizi. His gaze was full of tenderness. He had to admit that his previous thinking had been too cautious, too careful. He had cherished their feelings like a treasure, but forgot that love should be reckless and passionate. And Qinyu had felt Jiang Er's feelings for him countless times, but he had hardly given any feedback. Even though his injuries still hadn't healed, even though their future remained uncertain, this time he wanted to be bold on this campus that symbolized youth and passion, in the way she liked. "You said you like boys who can sing," and Qinyu leaned toward the microphone, smiling slowly. "What a coincidence. But for me, learning guitar and singing seems quite simple." Just like that, the light rain in the gray sky, stopping and starting, silently soaking the earth. As Nkinji's clear singing voice rose, the dim LED screen behind him suddenly brightened, countless flying leaves forming the background, adorning the song. The melodious accompaniment, following the chords from Nkinji's fingertips, transformed into a lively and gentle ballad, flowing into every corner of the venue. The brilliant lights painted the night with iridescent colors, and amid waves of cheers, the venue heated up again. In just one night, Nkinji had gone from a novice who had barely touched an instrument to possessing guitar skills not inferior to Li Yifei's. Compared to Li Yifei's deep and resonant voice, his was more gentle and delicate. For this song he was even more suitable than Li Yifei. Jiang Er stood dazed behind the crowd. That figure in the spotlight, the center of everyone's attention, merged with the shy and gentle Nkinji in her mind, and for a moment she felt a sense of unreality. Qinyu's personality is rather shy and low-key. This kind of high-profile behavior under everyone's gaze is something he could never have done before. Lin Chia smiled as he walked to her side and slowly said, "This time his ability to stand on stage already shows he's made a very big decision. The song he sings only for you. Jiang Er, you changed him." Lin Chia was telling the truth. He couldn't imagine what kind of courage it would take for that once reclusive boy who used to hide in sewers dissecting corpses alone, to now walk into the spotlight before everyone. For Nkinji, this might not be easier than single-handedly killing a main god. His ability to take this step was truly beyond everyone's expectations. But similarly, he was also using this opportunity on campus to express his feelings and determination to Jiang Er. Jiang Er's lips pressed together slightly. She looked at Nkinji on stage, her eyes showing unprecedented joy and emotion. "I know," Jiang Er said softly. "Even if he didn't do this, I would know his feelings." Jiang Er paused, a bright smile appearing on her face, but seeing him able to stand there, "I'm really happy." Lin Chia shifted his gaze from Jiang Er to Nkinji, and after a long while sighed helplessly. Nkinji, that prodigy reaching this level after just one night of practice, Makes me feel really inadequate. Forgive me for being helplessly drawn to you. Perhaps just a casual glance at you would make a 100-meter sprint come to a halt. Backstage, Lu Menglei stood at the control panel, one hand holding the headphones to her ear, the other adjusting the equipment in front of her, completely focused. You know stage control too? Chao Yuan stood beside her, asking in surprise. I know a little of the basics, just playing music, adjusting sound and such. Lu Menglei smiled. During rehearsal, the accompaniment for this song, the background animation and light programming were all arranged. I just need to play it. I see. By the way, maybe you should untie them, they look terrified. Lu Menglei pointed to the corner where several staff members were tied together with rope. The staff members were bound to the table legs, their mouths sealed with transparent tape, only able to watch helplessly as Chao Yuan and Lu Menglei operated in the control room, occasionally making muffled sounds. Seeing that An Qingjiu's performance was almost over, Chao Yuan temporarily removed the tape from their mouths. With the loud music outside, even if they shouted, no one would notice. Who are you people? How dare you break in? Shut up. Chao Yuan glared at them fiercely. Under Chao Yuan's intimidating presence, they immediately closed their mouths, afraid that this man with the face of a terrorist might pull out a gun and blow their heads off. Remember, you saw nothing today. You operated all this equipment yourselves, understand? Chao Yuan smiled coldly and ominously. Anyone who dares to speak out, I'll tear their mouth apart. These good students with excellent grades had never encountered such a situation. With just a little intimidation from Chao Yuan, they were scared into nodding frantically. Chao Yuan stood up and walked to Lu Menglei's side, watching her seriously control the stage, and sighed deeply. Sorry for getting you involved in this. It's fine. This kind of scene from TV dramas. It would be a shame not to experience it once. Lu Menglei laughed lightly. Besides, I'm about to graduate, so even if we're caught, it won't matter. Chao Yuan nodded, his gaze passing through the transparent cover of the tent to look at An Qingjiu on stage. As the last chord faded, the music on stage gradually quieted. The cheers from below, accompanied by waving glow sticks, marked the end of the evening's performance. The students in the venue gradually left, the spotlights went out, and in the dimness An Qingjiu put down his guitar and let out a long breath. His back was already half soaked with sweat. Now he could face a main god's pressure without changing expression, but facing this kind of situation was really too much for him. However, this performance had resolved his inner conflict about Jiang Er, making him feel much lighter. He pushed his wheelchair to an open area of the venue, and the ghost-like Jiang Er had already floated over, throwing her arms around him. Jiang Er hovered in front of An Qingjiu, her eyes full of joy and excitement. An Qingjiu smiled and asked, "How was it? Did you like it?" "Yes." Jiang Er nodded firmly. "You sang much better than Li Yifei." The smile at the corners of An Qingjiu's mouth grew deeper. "You sang well." Lin Chia and Qin Han also came forward, smiling at him. An Qingjiu smiled helplessly, about to say something when his body suddenly shuddered. A tearing pain came from his mind, and An Qingjiu's face instantly turned pale. He clutched his head in agony, his body curling up in the wheelchair. Boom! A muffled sound echoed in the night sky, and Lin Chia, as if sensing something, had a dramatic change in expression. "How is this possible?" Lin Chia suddenly turned his head toward a certain direction, speaking in disbelief. "What's wrong?" Qin Han asked, puzzled. "It's only been 2 days. How did they come so quickly?"